Hi everybody, so today I am here with a reading progress update. So I will be hauling some books I picked up at the library yesterday. I'm going back this afternoon to get several more, which I will be mentioning in a video that I'm making tomorrow about top priority library reads. A current book that I got out of the library last week that I'm reading is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. This is a horror book that is set at the edge of a ski mountain, and it focuses on a woman named Krista who joins a tour group heading deep into the Rocky Mountains. But they get trapped in a cabin there. I have really been enjoying this. This is my first book by Darcy Coates. Carly at the Pastel Bookshelf recommended this book in a recent video that she posted, but I also heard about it from, I believe, either Riley Marie or Sarah without an H. This is my first book by Darcy Coates. So far, I'm really liking it. I am on page 236, and I should probably finish this tonight. I have about 150 pages left. The next book is a YA book called V.E. Schwab, called Gallant. It's by V.E. Schwab, the same person who wrote A Darker Shade of Magic, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This, I picked this up for my TBR for books with disabled protagonists because the main character in this book is mute. After all her life, Olive Pryor has wondered who she truly is and where she belongs. Her only clue is a slim, battered journal, her mother's journal, full of entries that seem to show that she was unraveling and drawings that look like blots of ink, until Olive notices a hand, a door, a bloom, a skull. Then a letter beckons Olivia home to Gallant, the one place her mother's journal warns her never to go. Olivia goes anyway. Of course she does. When she finds what she finds is her last living relative in her family's manor, a manor with a ballroom and a sitting room and a study and a sprawling, vibrant garden, and the crumbly ruin of a garden wall with an iron door, a door she must never open. But no one at Gallant sent Olivia that letter, and no one will tell her what haunts her cousin's dreams, what happened to her mother, or what lies on the other side of the wall. Did the shadows call Olivia home? What will they ask of her in return? So, the whole thing with the secret door kind of reminds me a little bit of The Secret Garden, which I'm going to be rereading again soon in preparation for seeing the play at Bedford Theater on March 13th, when Matt and I use our tickets that we got for Christmas. I have finished 187 pages of this book. Another book I picked up at the library yesterday is called The Lost Story of Eva Fuentes by Chanel Cleaton. This is by the same author as Our Last Day in Barcelona, which I read in December and gave 4.5 stars to. So the plot of this book seems very similar to The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno Garcia, but instead of being about witches, the book that is being talked about in this book is about Cuban history. And I'm really enjoying this so far. I just started this yesterday afternoon, and I am currently on page 186. The next book I wanted to talk about is We'll Prescribe You a Cat, a translated work by Siyu Ishida. This was recommended to me by Olive at A Book Olive, who recommends me a lot of non-fiction I think this is also nonfiction. I could be wrong. Let me see if it says anything. Copyright and imprint of... It doesn't really seem to say if this book is about, if this book is nonfiction or not. I will read you what the description is. A cat a day keeps the doctor away. Discover the utterly charming, vibrant celebration of the healing power of cats in this award-winning, best-selling Japanese novel that became an international sensation. Tucked away on the 5th floor of an old building, at the end of a narrow alley in Kyoto, the Nakayano Koroko Clinic for the Soul can be found. Only by people who are struggling in their lives and genuinely need help. The mysterious clinic offers a unique treatment to those who find their way. It prescribes cats as medication. Patients are often puzzled by this unconventional prescription, but when they take their cat for the recommended duration, they witness profound transformation in their lives, guided by the playful, emphatic, and occasionally challenging yet endearing cats. Throughout these pages, the power of the human-animal bond is revealed as a disheartened businessman and finds unexpected joy in physical labor. A middle-aged man struggles to stay relevant at work, and at home, a young girl navigates the complexities of elementary school cliques. A hardened handbag designer seeks emotional balance, and a geisha learns to move on from the memory of her lost cat. As clinic's patients grapple with their inner turmoil and seek resolution, their feline companions lead them towards healing, self-discovery, and newfound hope. This book is very sweet. I started it yesterday. For some reason, it's split up into sections, and I think it's because it's based on the different characters, but I feel like it probably shouldn't be split up into sections because it's not like it's a very long book to begin with. I am on chapter 4, page 189. Before I move on to the other books I'm reading, I wanted to talk quickly about the books that I am either listening to on audio or reading on the Cloud Library app. Right now I am doing a tandem reread of Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. In my reread, I am only on the first interlude, New York. So I'm going to re-pick up this audio book again up in a couple of days. The next audio book I just started yesterday on the Cloud Library app is called That's Not How It Happened. This book is a memoir of the producer of How I Met Your Mother, and it talks about how him and his wife raised their son who has Down syndrome. And I can really relate to this character. Any family who has raised a child with a disability, including my own, can probably relate to this memoir. And this memoir is great because two of the narrators are actors from How I Met Your Mother, which is, by the way, one of my favorite TV shows. Josh Radnor, who plays Ted, is the main male narrator, and Colby Smulders, who plays Robin, is the main female narrator. And then I don't know the names of the voice actors for the teenagers, but I love how they got a voice actor of a character to play the character who has Down syndrome. I think it's great that they were able to use own voices for that character. I just started this audiobook yesterday, and I am on chapter 4. Another audiobook I am listening to on my Apple Books app is We Don't Know Ourselves, which is actually a book I started last March and had to start and stop for a while because I was reading so many other books at once. Kathleen and I are reading it for our general TBR that is separate from Manhattan to Stars Hollow. I am 77% done with this audiobook and should finish it sometime in the next couple of days. Another audiobook I am going to start listening to on the Cloud Library app once I finish We Don't Know Ourselves is Tilly in Technicolor by Mazey Eddings. Mazey Eddings writes a lot of gay and lesbian romances. I've read a couple of different romances by her, actually. The first one was a gay and lesbian romance called Late Bloomer, which was 3 stars. The second book I read was also 3 stars. It's called Well, Actually, which was recommended to me by Gabby at Gabby Reads. And this next book that I'm reading called Tilly in Technicolor has a neurodivergent protagonist. So I'm really excited to start listening to this audiobook and see what I can learn about this character. Another memoir I am currently rereading for the From Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR is Brooke Shields Is Not Allowed to Get Old. This was Brooke Shields' memoir. She released it last January. I read it when it was first released. Well, I listened to it on audio. I bought the physical book recently at the used section of Longfellow Books. Paid $14. Which is a good deal considering the original price of it is $29.99. So, Brooke Shields gives a lot of great advice in this book about how to be an aging woman. She is only 10 years older than me, so I can apply a little bit of her advice to my own life, but not a lot of it, because she talks a lot about menopause and stuff like that, because she's 50 and I'm 40. So, but my favorite chapter in this book is the one I am on right now, actually. Chapter 8, I'll Be There For You, the one with a new best friend. This is the chapter where she talks about filming the Super Bowl episode of Friends. Well, it's the first part of the 2-part episode. In this episode, she plays Joey's obsessive fan who ends up turning into his stalker. Her name is Erica, and she's kind of like almost cartoonish in a way. So at this time that she was filming this episode, she was dating the famous tennis player Andre Agassi, and she mentions in this book how what led to their divorce was the fact that he got angry that she kissed Matt LeBlanc's hand in a scene when Erica and Joey were on a double date, which is a stupid reason to end a relationship. But she shares a behind-the-scenes moment from filming the Super Bowl episode where she slid across the carpet in the apartment that Joey and Chandler share and looked up Matthew Perry's pant leg, and Matthew Perry burst into hysterical laughter. So I'm almost at the part where she shares that tidbit of backstage information, and it made me smile because it made me happy. After reading like so much sadness in Matthew Perry's book, in happy moments too, of course, it was good to get something uplifting from behind the scenes of Friends that you see Matthew Perry smiling at. Like, I have to say, one of my favorite parts of rereading this book all of the time, this is like my 5th reread of Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, and one thing that always makes me smile is the section where, actually, I can flip to the page right now and share you the exact quote. Let me find it. Maybe I already passed it. Oh. Oh, here it is. On page 167, he talks about a conversation he had with his dad when he was about to go to the hospital for a surgery or something like that. And this is the conversation that they had. "Dad," I said, deadly serious, "I know this is going to sound crazy, but at any moment, a giant snake is going to come and take me away." My father's reaction: "Maddie, if a giant snake comes to take you away, I will shit my pants." To this day, I am impressed by how my father rolled with my utter insanity. That line makes me smile because it showed me how close Matthew Perry was with his dad, John Bennett Perry, who also appears in one episode of Friends where Rachel is dating Joshua and Joshua's parents come home from vacation early, and he also appears in the movie Fools Rush In as Alex Whitman's dad. The next book that I am currently reading right now is called The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. This is by the same lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which I gave 3.5 stars to, and City of Girls, which I gave 3.5 stars to. This book is basically, from what I gather, it was about appreciating nature, which I can actually tell you. Love, adventure, and discovery are at the heart of the signature of all things, which soars across the globe from America to Tahiti to tell the story of a brilliant woman named Alma Whitaker, born in 1800, the daughter of the charismatic botanical explorer. Alma quickly comes into her own within the world of plants and science, but as her research takes her deeper into the mysteries of evolution, she falls in love with a man who draws her into the opposite direction, into the realm of the spiritual, divine, and the magical. Written in the bold, questing spirit of the 19th century, Gilbert's spellbinding tale takes the reader on to unexpected places, and a tale of a remarkable woman and an unquenchable sense of wonder. So, like, this synopsis kind of reminds me of Eat, Pray, Love, in the fact that it's a story about travel, but it's a little bit different because it's about botany instead of, like, finding yourself after divorce. I really like this a lot better than this book, a lot better than Eat, Pray, Love. I mean, the thing I like best about Eat, Pray, Love is the scene when she's in Italy. And the cinematography in that scene in the movie with Julia Roberts is fantastic, by the way. But I just love the talk of plants and nature in this book. I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. And I am currently on page 115, chapter 9. The next book is Colleen Hoover's new release. This is my third book by Colleen Hoover that I have read this month. I have also read Regretting You in reminders of him in preparation for seeing the movies with Kathleen later on this year. This is Colleen Hoover's latest book that just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it seems to be semi-autobiographical because our main character, her name is Petra. She's an author whose books get adapted into movies, and I feel like she semi-based the plot for this book off of all the backlash that the movie for It Ends With Us received a couple of years ago. And I am probably not going to see that movie because It Ends With Us is my least favorite book of hers. 3 books by Colleen Hoover are coming out with movies this year, actually. Regretting You, Reminders of Him, and Verity. Actually, Regretting You came out in October. Reminders of Him comes out on March 13th. And Verity comes out at the beginning of October. I'm especially excited for Verity because Anne Hathaway is in that movie, and she has been one of my favorite actresses ever since The Princess Diaries. Currently, I am on page 190, chapter 15. The next book I am going to be starting to read for the From Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR, which I'm going to be starting on at the end of next week because it's on my February TBR. So I'm going to start on January 31st, so I can be reading it on February 1st. It's Lulu's Cafe. Chandler gave me this book for Christmas, and it's set in South Carolina in a summer beach resort town, and the cafe in this book is similar to Luke's Diner. I haven't even started this yet, but based on the vibes I get from the description of this book, Lulu's Cafe sounds very similar to Luke's Diner, so I can't wait to get started with this in the next week. I may start sooner than the 31st. The next book was also a Christmas gift from Chandler, but she gave this book to Matt, and he's letting me read it first because he is in the middle of 2 other books right now and not quite ready to start in on a third. The next book is called Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna Van Veen. This is a horror book that I have heard several different horror people talk about on BookTube, mostly Jordaline, and I believe Willow Talks Books talked about it recently, and I can't remember. Those are the main 2 people I have seen review this book. This is basically a retelling of Dracula from what I can assume. The Netherlands, 1887. Lucy's twin sister Sarah is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse recently discovered by her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition. But it's clear her twin is hiding something. Then again, Lucy's harboring secrets of her own, too. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the worse, for the strange. She becomes angry and hungry. Lucy soon comes to suspect that something is trying to possess her beloved sister, or is it madness? As Sarah changes before her very eyes, Lucy must reckon with the dark, monstrous truth to risk losing her forever. So basically, I feel like this is a retelling of Dracula. Matt and I saw a musical version of Dracula at the Good Theater at the beginning of November, which we really enjoyed. This is my first time reading Blood on Her Tongue, and so far I am on page 139. The last physical book that I have with you to talk about is The Martian by Andy Weir. This is by the same author as Project Hail Mary, which is coming out with a movie on March 20th. I think The Martian also has a movie. Yeah. I don't know when this movie came out. How old is this book? 2011. So I have a feeling that this movie came out a couple of years ago, but I'm not very far into it yet. I'm only on page 38, chapter 5. I will read you what this is about. 6 days ago, astronaut Mark Watney became one of the first people to walk on Mars. Now, he'll be one of the first people to die there. After a dust storm forces his crew to evacuate the planet while thinking him dead, Mark finds himself stranded on Mars' surface with no way to signal Earth that he's alive. And even if he could get the word out, his supplies would be gone years before a rescue could arrive. Chances are, though, Mark won't have any time to starve to death. The damaged machinery, unforgiving environment, or old human error are much more likely to kill him first. Armed with nothing but his ingenuity, his engineering skills, and a gallows sense of humor to be provided to be his greatest source of strength, Mark embarks on a dogged quest to stay alive. But will his resourcefulness be enough to overcome the impossible odds against him? As I just said, I'm on chapter 5, but so far I'm really enjoying Andy Weir's writing style. This is my first book of his, and I definitely plan on Project Hail Mary next, as I anticipate to see the movie once it's out on streaming services, because I don't think we're going to get around to seeing it in the theater. I actually saw this book on a recommendations list on Instagram. About Gilmore Girls characters, and this book was paired up with Kirk, and the caption underneath the picture of the book said, "Would make fan merch for it." And yeah, I would definitely be able to see Kirk making fan art for this book, or fan merchandise on this, based on like the vivid descriptions of what it looks like to be on Mars. A couple of other books I'm reading that I do not have physical copies of are The Kingmaker, which I'm reading as an ebook on Cloud Library app. This is by Kennedy Ryan, and I came across it on a list of books that were paired up with couples from Dancing with the Stars. And this book was paired up with Pasha and Danielle. And then I am also at the Boys and Girls Club. The group that I work with is doing a classics reading club with one of the teachers, Mary. And right now they are reading Because of Winn-Dixie, which is a middle grade novel by Kate DiCamillo. I do not remember ever reading this book as a kid, so I'm excited to listen to this story along with the kids and learn more about the character. This book is about a little girl named Opal who is new to a town. Her dad works as a preacher, and she lives in Florida, and I guess Winn-Dixie is a popular grocery store chain out there. So this dog comes into the grocery store and wrecks havoc, and the little girl Olive, who is 10, she takes the dog home with her and takes good care of him. And the chapter that we just read the other day is about Opal going to the library and having a conversation with the librarian, and now the librarian and Opal and Winn-Dixie all have a friendship, and it's really cute. So I can't wait to read the next couple of chapters with the kids next week. And that's about it. The books that I am bringing back from the library today, my top priority reads that will be in future videos are Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors,